be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Edge of Greatness on the NGBN TV network. Man, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty pumped about the new intro. So I'm feeling a little energy. I'm feeling a little bit of excitement. I'm curious though. Tell me what you think. I put a little time into it the other day. I tried to spruce it up a little bit and give us something new since we're going to TV, and I think we did pretty good there. I'm feeling the energy. So hopefully you are too. I have a exciting show for you today. We're going to finish up on the pillars of greatness. And one of the big things about this first two episodes is to set us up and to put us in a position to understand why these things are important, the direction I'm trying to take everybody in, and how they can play a role in your life. So before we dive into today's pillars, the final four, I do want to connect you again with what those pillars are. So let's take a quick recap of the 7 pillars, and we'll take a look at these here. And as we covered last week, we went over purpose, mindset, and resilience. And, obviously the purpose is our North Star, our guiding light, our beacon that we're chasing. The mindset we choose to adopt allows us to attack all of the things that are going to stand in our way and try to stop us from getting to greatness. Because when we pursue something that's big, when we pursue something that's hard, there's always going to be something that kind of tries to stand in our way and deter us from going after our dreams. And then the resilience is our ability to bounce back from those things and stand tall in the face of adversity, to withstand the failures and the ups and downs of the journey and keep moving forward. So today we're going to dive into the back four of this. This is commitment, discipline, courage, and people. And I love these four. And while they don't, I guess, hold the same weight a lot of times as mindset, purpose, and resilience, they're every bit as important. And without one of these pillars, if you fail to adopt all of them, part of this journey is going to be hard. Not saying you can't make it without one, but you're putting yourself in a spot that makes it challenging if you choose to ignore one of these 7 things. So today we're going to dive into commitment, discipline, courage, and people. And the first up on this journey that we're going to go on is commitment. All right. What is commitment? In today's day and age, there's a lot of talk about commitment, especially in the sports world. You see it all the time. I'm committed. I'm 100% committed. I'm going here. And then 5 minutes later, I'm going somewhere else. And I think a lot of times we misuse this word. We overuse this word. But what is it to me? Commitment is a promise to yourself to do whatever it takes to achieve a desired result you're after, right? When you commit to a place, you're committing to do whatever it takes to make that place your home, to make that place your journey, your responsibility to lift up and do better. And too often, when we make these commitments, we don't fulfill that promise. And that's a big part of this. You have to understand that you're making a promise to a place, to a thing, to a part of your journey. And commitment is not discipline. I want to make sure that that's clear, because as we get further along, we're going to talk more about discipline, but it's not discipline. It's the promise that discipline then follows. And like I said, we'll talk about that more in a second, but commitment is the fuel for discipline. All right. So why do we need to be committed? Why is that even important? Like I said before, people talk about commitment a lot and then they just shrug it off and they do the next thing. But why is it important to be committed? Well, just like your car needs gas, right? And gas fuels our cars. Commitment fuels our discipline. It fuels our journey. It fuels our purpose. When you commit to your purpose, when you commit to your journey, when you commit to the things in your life, your spouse, your kids, your business, your job, whatever it is, when you commit to it, you show up. You promise to be where you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to do, and that promise to go after something and be all in. And when we're committed, we eliminate excuses. And I think that that's the really important part about this, is because obstacles are going to be there. They're going to show up. You're going to face adversity. You're going to deal with ups and downs in the journey. But if you're committed to that journey, if you're committed to that thing, you show up and you push through anyway. The obstacles don't stop our progress. And that's why I believe that commitment is so important. Because if you're just loosely interested in the thing you're going after, it's real easy to go, well, today it's cold outside, so I'm not going to go work out. I'm committed to my fitness, but only when it's nice. And there's a lot of that. There's a committed to do something when it fits my moment that I'm in, when it's easy. And commitment is doing it even when it's hard. And so the biggest thing is, how do we become more committed? How do we get better at being a person who, when we say we're committed, we do what it takes to be there, to show up, to follow through? And I think this is an interesting question, because while I believe that all of these pillars are skills, some of these skills are harder to train than others. And I think commitment is one of those things, because when you look at it, you have to figure out ways to follow through. And so there's two big things that I think can help. The first, understand what commitment means before you say you're committed. Like we talked about just a second ago, commitment is a promise. It's a promise to yourself. It's a promise to what you're trying to do. It's a promise to potentially someone else. So understand what that is, and then become a man of your word. When you commit, follow through. Don't just say the words, do the job. And second, I think this is the other part of it. Make less commitments. We need to stop throwing around the word committed in every situation. Not every situation is a commitment situation. And if it is, and you say you're committed, you better be 100% all in. And nothing can force you off course, because that's when you become a man of your word. That's when you start to create value around the word commitment. And it doesn't make sense to commit to something and then break that commitment, because all you're doing then is weakening your resolve. You're weakening your journey, and you're going to find yourself in a place where that word doesn't mean anything anymore. And when that word doesn't mean anything, you've lost that pillar. So that right there, I think, is one of the most important things to understand, is when you choose to commit, you need to go all in. You need to be aware of what that word means and why we're saying it. So we'll dive more into the way commitment and discipline work together right after this short commercial break.
I came to win, yeah, I came to win. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. Can't no one stop me, yeah, bring it in. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. Top down, faded windows tinted. Push it with it, push it to the limit.
We cannot wait any longer. Men are in need of community, brotherhood, and a place to call home. The time is now, and that place is NGBN TV. Powered by men just like you, dedicated to launching a one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Our goal is to inspire, entertain, celebrate, educate, and support men. The NGBN TV sneak peek is launching January 29th. We need you on this journey with us. Ad rates at NGBN TV will never be this low again. So join our movement on NGBN.TV and contact us today. NGBN TV, a network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, coming January 29th.
Welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. I don't know about you, but some of that apparel has got me pumped. I love a good shirt. I love to rock what I'm working on. And if you're interested in supporting the network or supporting this show, you can go to ngbn.tv and check out the store. Use promo code EDGE10 to get 10% off any of the apparel. It helps support my show. It helps support the network. And you can start to rock some of the NGBN TV apparel yourself. But now let's dive into the next pillar. All right. Let's look at what it means to be disciplined. I think that this is an important pillar because it goes hand in hand with commitment in my opinion. I think the two of them work to create a unified pillar. When you have a strong commitment and you have a strong discipline, you can make a lot of progress. But what is discipline? And for me, discipline is the daily actions required to fulfill the promise you made when you committed. All right, I'm going to repeat that. Discipline is the daily actions required to fulfill the promise you made when you committed. So if you've committed to getting in shape, the daily actions to fulfill that promise is the discipline side. Because let's be honest, you're not going to want to work out. You're not going to every day. That's not going to happen. You might feel excited right away. You might have a few moments where it's like, yeah, this is a good day, but it's not going to be there every single day. And that's where the discipline comes in. And it's your get up and do it muscle, right? Because in any journey that's worth fulfilling, that's hard, you're going to have to fight through the days where you don't want to do the work. And the discipline is the nothing is getting in my way mindset. It's the thing that's going to eliminate the excuses. Similar to commitment, when you promise to do it, right? You're putting that excuse aside because this is what I committed to doing. And then when you don't want to do it, you show up anyway. That's the excuse eliminator. And that's what discipline is. But why is this important? It's super important to become a disciplined person because, like I said a minute ago, you're not going to always want to do the work. And to be successful, you have to show up every day in some way. You have to start to continue to try to make progress, no matter how small, on a daily basis. And for me, one of the things that's most challenging, especially when it comes to watching others try to succeed, is they try to be disciplined in too many things at too many times, and they don't understand that small baby steps makes a huge difference. You don't have to do it all today. It's not an all or nothing. I got to win 100% in all of it. It's little things. And what you'll find is when you become a person of discipline, you will choose to do the thing you don't want to do more often. All right. You're going to find that when you're pursuing something hard, there's going to be a lot of things that you don't want to do. For me, discipline is what helps keep me on track. It's the thing that keeps me moving in the direction I know I need to go. So I guess the big question then becomes, how do we develop discipline, right? Just like when we work out, we try to develop muscles. Discipline is a muscle. And to develop it, we must flex it. And so there's two things I think that are important to talk about when it comes to the start of our development of discipline. The first is set small daily tasks. I mentioned that a little bit before, but what that means is something that no matter what, on your worst day, you'll do. When I wrote my 2 books, I set a task, a discipline task of 100 words per day. That sounds really ridiculously small. And for me, that is. It was so easy that even on my worst day, I can pump out 100 words in probably about a minute and a half. But I made it that small because it forced me to sit at my desk and write. It wasn't about the number. It was about the X on the date, the showing up regularly, the doing the thing that I said I needed to do in order to make progress. And if you're someone who's, let's say, new to exercise, make it your point to put on your workout shoes or your workout clothes every day. You don't have to work out every day, but get in the habit of doing it. Discipline is creating that habit. The smaller it can be and the more daily you can become, the easier it is to expand upon that habit. Because to be honest, when I set that really stupid small goal of 100 words, I wrote more 95% of the time, maybe even 98% of the time. And even if I didn't, I showed up. I did my 100. Today's just a terrible day. Cool, I'm moving on. That's fine. But I still got that X. I still showed up. I still put in some work. The second part that I want to touch on that I think is extremely important here. Practice doing the things you don't want to do. When we do something we don't want to do, that's our discipline muscle at play. There's going to be a lot of times on this journey that you're going to have things that you know you need to do that are important to your success, your progress, your journey. But deep down, you're like, man, I just don't want to, right? Let's say you're preparing for a marathon and it's 5 degrees outside like it is here. You're not going to want to go outside. I don't blame you. It's terrible. But you need to. You have to start to do the things you don't want to do on a regular basis. And it helps if you start small, just for a little bit, do a little bit of it. You don't have to do as much, just do some of it, show up anyway, right? If you don't want to work out, do 10 push-ups. Do parts of the thing that you don't want to do. Practice those things, practice doing that, and you're going to find that over time, it's easier to consistently show up. So let's move on to the next pillar. All right. I think that that's a good stopping point for today on the discipline side of things. But the next pillar is courage. And I think that this is one that is often overlooked when we start to think and search for greatness, because, you know, what is courage? Why is it important? What do we need to work? What is the point of courage? And I think the first step is understanding that courage is not the elimination or absence of fear, right? We're not fearless to become courageous. Courage is the acknowledgement of fear and choosing to act anyway. It's feeling that fear and stepping into it, right? We often think that, you know, the people who are the most courageous just don't feel fear. That's not true. Courage is action despite fear, in spite of fear. We are going to choose to act even though we are afraid. And it's owning that fear and moving forward that courage is created. But why do we need it? We need it because when you start to step into the unknown, which when you pursue greatness or you pursue something great, you will find yourself in places you're uncomfortable with because you're stretching yourself, and it creates fear. And if you give into that fear, then you won't realize what you're capable of, right? If you never step into that fear, you don't become who you're meant to be. Now, we can't eliminate fear from our life. It's not possible. You are wired to experience fear. You're wired to recognize moments that make you feel afraid and scared, because we are wired to keep ourselves safe, but we can learn to walk with it. We need to learn to step forward into courage, because that's where we learn. That's where we grow. That's where we win. But how do we develop this courage? How do we start to own the courage that we need in order to be great? I like to help myself to be more courageous by asking a series of questions. All right. There's a few things that I kind of run through when I start to find myself in a moment of fear. The first is, what kind of fear is this? Is it a fear of I might get hurt? I could get killed. It's a dangerous situation. Or is it a fear of comfort? Is it a fear of I just want to play it safe and I don't want to step out on this limb because I've never been here and people might laugh at me and they might think I'm stupid, and this imposter syndrome that just kind of holds us back? Is it that kind of fear? And if it's the latter and not the former, because we don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to step into a place that we might get injured or die unless you're a stuntman or doing something crazy. I mean, if that's the case, then you're going to have to step into those moments a little bit. But most of the time when we feel fear, it's not life-threatening. The next question I often run to after I determine that it's normally just I'm uncomfortable situation is, what's the worst thing that can happen if I step into this moment? What's the worst thing that can happen if I step into this moment? And often is I fail at the moment. I look awkward. It's uncomfortable. Maybe a few people don't want to follow me anymore, or I get laughed at a little bit. None of which is terrible, because if I struggle in that moment, there's something for me to learn. I'm getting better. I'm growing. And I think that that's the piece of it that we often look past, is that just because we fail a moment, just because it's uncomfortable, doesn't mean that we didn't get something out of it. The final question I like to ask is, what opportunity could I miss if I pass on this moment? And I think that this is a powerful question, because a lot of times it's a big opportunity, which is why the fear is there. It's something that's stretching us. It's putting us in a place where we don't want to be, because it's not safe. It's not comfortable. It's not familiar. But by asking these questions, I usually come to the conclusion that I should probably do it anyway. I should probably continue to move forward. I should probably step into this moment and just go for it. And it's helped me a lot, especially in recent years, to ask those questions, to go through this process, and to say, let's go. It's time. We're stepping into this moment. We're going to make this work. And I think it will help you too, to become more courageous, to step into these fear moments, and to continue to strive to move into more moments where you're uncomfortable. But if you're someone who wants to master courage, check out our partner, Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel. Go Primal Lifestyle, where the mindset to be your best for the ones that need you the most. Use promo code BEGREAT to get 10% off at checkout. Stick around. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I came to win, yeah, I came to win. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. Can't no one stop me, yeah, bring it in. I came to win, yeah, I came to win. Top down, faded windows tinted. Push it with it, push it to the limit.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
Educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives.
There is an epidemic in our community,
and it's taking men from us?
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
in a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at NGBN.TV, coming January 2024.
All right, welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. And a reminder, you can visit NGBN.TV and grab your apparel. Use the promo code EDGE10 to save 10% on your order. Also, sneak peek is coming. It's soon, January 29th. Make sure you mark your calendar. Pay attention to my social media feeds, because I will give you step-by-step instructions on how you can download it on all of your devices and then be able to enjoy this show from anywhere, smartphone, tablet, television. It's going to be awesome. So as we head down the home stretch, let's go. We got one more pillar to dive into, and that's people. And I think this one always throws people. Like, why is people a pillar? And I put it at 7 because I think it's also the connecting piece of everything that kind of holds all the other pillars together. There's no such thing as a self-made man. Nobody makes it to the top alone. As you see in the picture that I used, that we all need someone on the other end of the rope helping us. We are all a product of the people who have invested in our life. And, you know, some people are there that we can't choose. But as we get older, we can start to choose the people that we surround ourselves with. We can start to look for the right people to have in our corner, to create our pact, to grow our circle of influence. And we need these people because we're blind to who we are all the time. We can't see the great things we do. We can't see the things we need to work on as clearly as somebody else. And there's a lot of times where we doubt ourselves and we need somebody to pick us up. There's a lot of times where we need somebody to put us in our place because our heads are getting too big. There's a lot of times where we just need somebody to tell us the truth, to help us along in our journey. And it's important that we grow a pack that allows us to become the best version of ourselves, right? We need people to motivate us, push us, inspire us, challenge us, make us better all the way around, because nobody finds greatness alone. So how do we create this pact? How do we find our people, right? How do we locate who's important to have in our life? And I think that this is what I've done. This is what I'm kind of looking for when I look to create my pact, is I need to find at least one person to fulfill each of these things. All right. I need somebody who can motivate me. I need somebody who supports me. I need somebody who can tell me the truth no matter what, even if it hurts me. I need somebody to challenge me. I need somebody who's ahead of me on my journey. And I need somebody who's behind me on my journey. And I need somebody who believes in where I'm going. Now, the person can encapsulate several of those. It doesn't have to be one for each. You can have somebody who does 2 or 3. But the reason why we need this, there's going to be times where you need somebody to pick you up. So the motivational person who says, yeah, you got this. You're going to be great. You're killing it. It's going to get you fired up to get started in the day. You're going to have that person who you need to lean on when things are hard, who supports you, who's going to help move the needle forward, who's going to help you be your best. You need that person to tell you the truth, because in this day and age, that's rare. You don't always have those people who are willing to tell you, like, look, man, this isn't the right choice. You need to do this better. This isn't your best effort. Own it. Step into it. Be that person. Help that person, right? You need that person who challenges you, and that truth teller can be that person too, because then when they tell you the truth, they can challenge you to do better, and they can push you forward. I also think it's important to find mentors ahead of you in your journey. People who aren't afraid to hold you accountable, to pull you forward, to kind of guide you on your quest. But it's also important to pick somebody up from behind and teach them, because as you teach them, you learn stuff. Learning is great until you teach, right? All of these things come together. And then you need the people who are in your circle to believe in where you're going. They're going to help you on that way. They're going to pick you up. They're going to push you forward. They're going to guide you. And all of this comes together to create this circle of trust that's going to be the most powerful piece of the 7 pillars, because they're going to be the light that guides you forward. So keep looking for the right people. Surround yourself with those who make you stronger, and pick yourself up and pick that tribe and keep moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed the beginning part of this journey with me, the discovery of the 7 pillars, the application of how we can start to get better at them. I tried to keep it simple early on, but as we continue to progress on the show, we're going to dive deeper into what each of these pillars are. How can we apply them? What are some of the nuances that go into becoming better at them? And I hope that eventually we develop the skills that make each of these pillars the special thing that they are. All right. There's a few ways that if you're interested, you can support the show. I hope that you go and check me out on social media. I think that those are some of the most important places that you can connect with me. I'm always available. You can shoot me an email. You can go on X or Instagram. Those are some of the places I'm most active. Or you can just visit the website, theedgeofgreatnessproject.com, and check out what we got going on. Last time, NGBN apparel store, you can check out and use the promo code EDGE10. All of the stuff that you purchase helps to support this show, helps to support the network, keeps things moving in the right direction. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Special thanks to Jenna for all the behind the scenes. Lots of stuff going on, lots of things changing and flowing, and she's kind of rolling with it, which is awesome. But as always, guys, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face, but remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was The Edge of Greatness.